This is a simple video showing you how exactly you can be using what we call instant index sites. You can instant index article sites, you can instant index directory sites, basically any type of site more in the world. People often have the argument, which you've probably heard quite a few times, saying, "Oh, but because it's instant indexing or instant posting, it's low quality rubbish. Google will just give you a penalty, that kind of stuff." That doesn't actually always apply. The only way that would apply would be this. If, for example purposes, you built a website today, it's got no age behind it, no history, if you attach, just say, for argument's sake, say 100 instant post articles in one day, something like that, then you could possibly get a penalty or get into some sort of Google problem. If you're going to be doing these things in a smart, sensible way, that sort of problems will generally not happen. And in the case of this one, it actually is, to be fair, ranking quite good for an instant article based site. According to Refs at the moment, it's ranking for 288 keywords so far. It's up, according to that, 76 keywords so far. It's just picked up another 1,000 traffic so far, so up from 300. The traffic value according to that's 30. Now, all these stats are not definitely 100% perfect by any means, but it tells us loud and clear this website, if we get a link from it, we will experience some sort of ranking boost quite likely, or some kind of benefit SEO wise overall. So what exactly can you use this type of site for? It can be used for many different things. Simply just give any of your money sites a ranking boost quite fast, since it will instantly improve. It could also be used as a good way to get YouTube videos ranking faster. It could also be as well as a good way to get your PBN network, if you're building one up, to get free backlink sources or sources boost. Because one of the biggest problems that people generally have when it comes to PBNs. So let's just say, for our sake, it's got 100 battles. I'm not going to go into a whole reference versus backlinks, that kind of stuff, but let's just say it's 100. Over time, your site's going to lose backlinks. It's just basically natural, because the website may have disindexed or be offline, and maybe you don't like your website anymore. It doesn't really matter why. But let's just say over a 2 year period, the site goes from 100 backlinks down to, say, 70. So it's now down to 70. So what does that mean? It could mean a range of things. It could mean that your PBN's not really worth keeping that well anymore because it's lost so much link juice, and the 30 links it lost were, say, the strongest. So what does this mean? You could do two main things to it. You could just let the PBN die off and get other ones, or you can do the smarter option. The reason why I say this is a smarter option is attach links to it. If you're going to have a PBN build and you want to do it in a big way, it's like everything. If you're only going to do it once, that's you done dusted. PBN building is not for you. It's like a full PBN building itself is basically a full-time job itself, because there's so many different factors that play a role in deciding if it's good, bad, whatever kind of stuff. So if you can find like sites like this one I recommend here, you could then attach a link from this one, shufflehex.com. So then it could be used as a way to boost the authority of your PBN, meaning any money sites or otherwise that are attached to your PBN will then experience a ranking boost because of this link. So that's something you should consider if you're going to be doing PBN. And I really want to quit as well, which you might find quite cool as a wee add-on to this little video, is this. Let's just say, for example purposes, we spent a total of $200 on our expired domains for building PBN. So in total, that means if every one of these costs in total $20 each, I'm just using $20 as a baseline. You can obviously get domains for cheaper than $20. I'm just using that as a baseline just to show you it could be done cheaper or more expensive. But let's just say we paid for each of our domains $20, including the registration cost. So we paid $20. So that means in total, all our PBNs would cost $200 in total. So if we were doing something like that, we could have a domain amount of PBNs, would say 20 of them for $200. So that's in real terms tiny money from a backlink perspective for guest posts. I mean, you can easily spend, just for example purposes, $50 as like a minimum people will spend in guest posts. So if you bought in total 5 guest posts for say $250, that's you basically spent an extra $50 compared to the starting cost of the PBNs. I'm not including the cost of content, hosting, the rest of that sort of stuff. I'm just using that as a baseline just to show you PBN building can actually, if you do things smart, be done cheap. So anyway, let's just say we got these ones. So we've got a range of quite good quality links. Anyway, so we rebuild the whole website. You can rebuild a website in many different ways. You can do things like website archive building back. You can use plugins to build faster, or you can just copy content if it's a hypertext markup language site or other thing to your WordPress site and just build it that way. There's many different ways to do it. I'm not going to get into that. But anyway, you could then, just for argument's sake, attach to a couple. I wouldn't recommend you attach them at all. If your PBNs are going to be in the same servers, that kind of stuff, that's kind of stupid. But if, for example, let's just say every one of your ones was in completely different IP address or different different hosting provider. If everyone was in completely different ones, it could actually work out well for you to attach all 20 of your PBNs a link from that. The only thing I'd recommend to make it look more natural, make it look more normal, use 20 different IP addresses. For example purposes, let's just say we got one for Norway, one for Denmark, one for France, one for United Kingdom, one for America, one for Canada, one for Mexico, Spain, Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Jamaica. Let's just say I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So I got 12 so far. Let's go with Romania, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, Germany. That's basically about Rome. Just go with that. I'm just using that example, but I mean, you could just have something like that. You could have a different IP address coming for all these things. So Google itself would basically, if you're getting the right quality IPs, they would basically have no way to tell that these all people are you or people you're applying to your job. If we had something that would appear in like Norway, Denmark, France, United Kingdom, America, Canada, Mexico, Spain, Russia, Ukraine, Poland, Jamaica, Romania, Italy, Belgium, Netherlands, and Germany. If we had all these different IP addresses coming up, how can someone possibly tell that it's you doing all the work or your group? And the answer is, unless you really care, they're probably not going to be able to tell. And one other thing I want to add as well before I end this video, if you have high quality IP blocking things or ignored whatever you want to use, it's very, very hard for people to be able to work out. If you live in country A, country B, town B, whatever, that kind of stuff, if you have the high quality things to block your IP address being tracked, then it'll be very difficult for people to monitor what you're doing. So you could, if you wanted to, it can be quite smart in some cases to just go to certain get undercover. I know there's a whole joke about the tinfoil head thinking or tinfoil philosophy when it comes to online work. But if you're doing something like that, I mean, even for example purposes, if you use the Tor browser, in case you don't know, is something for deep web. By the way, people always claim, oh, deep web is always for criminals, bad people. That's not the case. The only thing that difference between the Tor browser compared to Google itself is the Tor browser itself will not monitor what you're doing because it's got so many different computers in your system, such as Netherlands, United Kingdom, Spain, Russia, Ukraine, Japan, basically most countries in the world. You will basically every so often change your IP. So if you're on a website right now, it could say you're Japan. If you're on a website 10 minutes later, it could say you're in Russia. So they'll have no way to tell that's you, the same you or same person, because it always changes. So you can do things like that on Tor if you wanted to. But one thing you should remember is quite important when it comes to Tor itself. Tor itself can change your IP basically any time of the day. So because it can change your IP any day, if a website's got quite a good security system in place for whatever reason, if you've basically gone from a Spain IP address to, just for example purposes, say Canadian one, it's going to look suspicious, and I'll think, what the hell? Sorry, just a weird message. But anyway, it look a bit suspicious, and they'll say something like this: "Oh, that means now that you're a different person, so we'll block your IP." Something like that. That can happen, but if it happens, don't worry about it. All you have to do is get another IP address, register a different email address. You can use free ones like Proton Mail, Gmail, whatever you want. It doesn't really matter. if you get any of these problems. Don't worry too much. I mean, I'll be honest, it's happened to me a few times, and I think most CEOs will experience these sort of things at least once in their lifetime. Anyway, that's all for the video. Thanks, bye. Reason not let me end this video. It's funny. Okay, let's